Groundandpound-TV here for Invicta FC5, and on my right you can see the MMA veteran Roger Huerta. He took the time, thanks so much. Roger, let's talk a little bit about you, about your past. How did you get into MMA? I think that's something a lot of people maybe don't know. The German fans would like to know that.
When I first got into MMA, it was probably back in 2003. I was wrestling in college, and some of my teammates in college were doing some amateur MMA stuff, and I got into it through them, and was very intrigued. Started really enjoying it, loving the sport for what it was. You know, obviously we didn't have it didn't have the mainstream publicity, mainstream media that it does now. It wasn't a mainstream sport at the time. It was pretty much still kind of like no holds barred, and we still, you know, were considered just. No holds bar type of fighting. Just people thought that just any average Joe could do it. Could get in there and just throw down.
Kind of street fighting thoughts.
Yeah, but I believed in the sport at the time, and I wanted to basically be involved in it and compete in it and be one of the best at it. And I worked hard to accomplish the things that I was able to accomplish and continue on, I guess.
Sounds good. Thanks so much for that insight. Let's talk about your last fights. Some of them didn't go that well, but before of that you did pretty good. What do you think was the change? What happened there?
Man, you want to go back. There's, the thing is that people don't understand, and I mean, people get to just watch the event and watch the fight, and they think that it's only the 15 minutes or the 25 minutes in the fight that showcase what a fighter has or what an athlete has. But there's a lot of preparation that's supposed to go behind that. You know, either you start out 12 weeks before the event, before the fight, or 6 weeks before the fight, or 8 weeks. It depends on the athlete. But a lot ends up happening, you know, in personal life and injuries and whatnot, or distractions and things of that sort. So you could say that you pile all that together. I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that, you know, obviously I don't like to really talk about my personal life, and I don't really like to showcase, you know, what goes behind closed doors or whatever, or what I go through mentally. I just try. Obviously, I show up on the day of. I show up on weight, and I throw down, and that's kind of like my thing. It's where maybe I should have pulled a lot of, you know, my last three for sure. Should have probably pulled out of the fight, but I have that stubborn mentality of thinking that I could still overcome certain things and still follow through on what's on that contract and my commitment on performing that night.
You're a very exciting fighter. A lot of people love your style, even though you say sometimes it's better to not go into that fight. But I have to ask this, your last fight was pretty brutal. What do you think about the rule in general with this soccer kick stuff at ONE FC?
Well, the thing is, I can't fault them for that. It's just the rule that they have in there. They actually just adopted the Pride rules, and I guess mentally you have to be aware that can happen. And you know, the thing is, it's a full contact sport. It's fighting in general. I mean, I could have got knocked out if I was standing, and then what? You know, it could have been a really bad knockout, or where I understand that it looks vicious, and it, you know, somebody can get really hurt with what happened to me, and thankfully I didn't get hurt. But the thing is that you can get hurt, period, you know, even if that wasn't the case, you know. So I think I was knocked out before the soccer kick, and my autopilot mode just continued on, and I think my cornerman was telling me, they're like, yeah, your eyes are pretty much rolled back, but you were still fighting, fighting forward, and I think my opponent, saw that that there was really no quit, and I don't fault him for him stopping me that way, because let's say he didn't do it, I would have probably continued. My autopilot mode would have continued on and continued fighting, and I think he was able to see an opportunity and he took it, and I can't fault him for that. And my hat's off to him regardless.
Yeah, that's very fair from you. But let's talk about the soccer kick in general. Do you think it's all right for MMA, or would you say it's better without it, like the UFC rule, so to speak?
Well, as far as like I can't say either or. Reasons why, because obviously we're a fight's a fight. Let's say there was no referee, and this happened in the streets, or let's go back even more in time. Let's say like this is back in the Roman times, right? And you're fighting against another gladiator, and but we're not using swords or knives, so it's not to the death. But the kick, for me, as far as like a man or a warrior, you would say, I can't say, oh, let's put some rules here and let's patent this a little bit, like let's sugarcoat it a little, like let's not be too rough, So as a fighter, I can't tell you it's not cool. As a fighter, I would tell you, well, you know what, the better man won that night, and he beat me fair and square. So my hat's off to him.
The last question, obviously you didn't fight for some time now. Is this something in the future, some fight coming up, or some plans?
Yeah, I'm not done. I will definitely come back. I just have to take care of a lot of injuries, really. And as soon as that's done, and I can really spend some time on myself and really have a strong team around me that can help me, succeed again. Because I'll tell you one thing. Before, when I was winning, I had a really, really, really strong team, and this team, all they thought about was for me to win. And everything they did very well. They took care of me. They pushed me hard, physically, mentally, with nutrition, with everything, really. They were my brothers who did a lot for me, and I was able to show that when I would fight. I was able to show that in performance, and once I get a strong team like that again around me, I'll for sure come back strong.
Sounds good. Do you have any time scheduled somewhere this year? Can we say that?
Let's hope so. Yeah, it's in the works. Trying to get the team together, but yeah, it's in the works.
Thanks so much. Best of luck for you. Get healthy, and we hope to see you soon.
Thank you.